Before beginning, we take a moment to recognize that here in Nevada, we stand on the land of the Washoe, Washoe, Numi, Northern Paiute, Nui, Western Shoshone, and Nuwu, Southern Paiute. We take a moment to recognize and honor their stewardship that continues into today. With this recognition, we state an intention to rightfully include their voice and respect them as the 27 sovereign tribal nations of Nevada. Okay, Jerry, it's all yours.
Thank you so much. And so we just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We are recording. Okay, thanks. It's just good so that way people who haven't, we always send out an email, and that way we have the recording of the program, and then we'll put it on our website as well. So you can share it with people, and that makes it nice because we know there's a couple other events going on tonight. So as we talked about earlier, we normally have our meetings on Sundays, but we're big Las Vegas Aces fans, and yesterday was a playoff game, so it's tonight and tomorrow and Friday, but Friday's a away game. We have been supporting women's sports, and we'll be talking about that in just a little bit of how you can join us in doing that. So what we usually like to do is start off with our board. So I'm Jerry Burton. I'm the co-executive director, and Sue Birch is I'm in charge of programs and coalition coordinator, and Sue is our co-executive director with me, my other half. She works on the legislative, anything legislative, and our PAC coordinator. And Eva Love, who is helping with the program, and she is the director of membership and volunteer coordinator. Madalena Robertson was on for a second. She's teaching tonight. So she's our director of technology and media, works on our website, makes a lot of our graphics. And Sara Evans is going to be one of our speakers tonight. She's our director of fundraising. And Michelle Macy, who went to another of the events to represent SEIU and Nevada Now, she's our director of outreach. And Laura Campbell's on vacation. She's our director of actions. And I don't think we have Samantha Glover. She's actually moved to Virginia, but is still on our board and staying in contact with us for when she comes back and lives in Reno again. She's our youth outreach right now, our director. And then Lenore is here. Lenore Briley is our treasurer. And then Sue good job. Sue Birch is also our PAC treasurer. So we have to have the two treasurers. So I forgot to mention that little part. But so we want to thank everybody who came to our Women's Equality Day fundraiser. It was successful. And I think everybody had a great time, and I thought Sue could update us on how we did with our fundraising and kind of give us a PAC update. Sue?
I certainly can. It was a fabulous event, and we broke some records for Nevada Now. We raised almost $15,000. Yeah. Keep in mind we've only had the PAC since 2019. And our record in 2022 was a little more than $10,000 in money that we handed out. So currently we're sitting just under $15,000 that will go to candidates once we figure out who's running. It's going to be a tough year, everyone. It's going to be an incredibly tough year. You know, let's not even think about the presidential race, the congressional races and all that. Just with our state legislature, there's a number of people that have been termed out. There's quite a few people that are not running again, or they're running for a different office. It's going to be interesting when we see where everybody plays out and what we can do. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to have the fundraiser so early, is to be able to really give a kickstart to some of the candidates once they've declared after the first of the year. So for a small group of volunteers, we absolutely appreciate the support. It overwhelmed us. The turnout overwhelmed us. And we're just very happy to have everyone's support, and love it when people bring new people in, like Sean, and Alina comes here because her teacher said so. So welcome, and hope you get something out of tonight. And feel free to ask questions either tonight or later on. But we're very excited. And in case you don't know, our goal is to support state and local candidates that are feminists, that are behind our 6 core issues. So we look forward to starting that endorsement process and really being able to hit the ground running in 2024. So there you go.
There you go. And it was fun. Thanks, Teresa. With our photo booth, we had a lot of really cool pictures come out of that too. So we had a good time, and we had our sports theme for the night. So we had Mel and Mo from Girl Chat Sports on. Sue and I've been on their podcast and talked about our program, and Sara has been on there talking about different things. So they're friends of ours, and actually friends of Sara's, and now we've become friends as well with Mel and Mo. But we also had Lindy LaRock come and talk about she's the Lady Rebels head coach, and so we've become friends with her and plan on doing a whole lot more in that area. So she was one of our guest speakers. But so one of the things we've really been trying to do before we get into our program is it's fun to go to the women's sports events, but also to bring attention to the inequities that we saw with media. And that's what kind of got us started, is seeing how the men were getting, the UNLV team was, not winning, and on the front page of the newspaper, and the Lady Rebels were winning, and they were even mentioned or on the third page. So yeah, so we started kind of like tweeting and bringing attention to it with Dr. Sandra Cosgrove, and whether or not that was it, they started putting them on the front page, and they were winning, and then we were like, this is really fun. We can all go together. It's kind of team building, and but I'm going to put in the chat one of the things I think. One of my really good friends, Zoe Nicholson at Long Beach, she's like, what is going on with you? You don't even like sports. And I said, first of all, it's fun, but also, we're finding that this is really a good way to bring up about pay inequity and the pay difference with men and women. And then I saw this article about, the difference in the WNBA to the NBA. Well, it was extremely shocking before. Now it's even worse, because even though they're making more money and getting more profit, they don't get a piece of that like the NBA does. So it's something to share, and let people know that it's important to do this. And also, they're not getting paid for what they're doing. So Sue and I and Sara got to go out and talk to a couple of the executives at the ACEs, and talking about how we can work in the community together. So we're serious about, bringing attention to this. And also we'll be having some events. The UNLV Lady Rebels basketball season starts in November. The first game is November 1st. And so what we're thinking, what's cool about the Lady Rebels games is we can all sit together. We're at the ACEs. We're all kind of spread apart. And so we're going to meet on, it's November 1st at 6 p.m. is their first game. And there's a Jerry Tarkanian statue out front of the Cox Pavilion. We thought if we met there, we could all go in together. So we'll send out something about that as it gets closer. And then on November 18th, we thought, it's a Saturday, we'd do like a tailgate thing in the parking lot. Again, I'm not a sports person, but apparently people do these things. And we can like have some snacks and drinks, and then we can like all go in together and maybe give out some, like have a way where we give free tickets ahead of time to a few people. And, we're kind of come up with some ideas just to get some attention around it. And I also like see Donna here. A few of us got to go to the White House to see the ACES celebration for the 2022 WNBA championship. And that's how we got to know a couple of the ACES. Blair Hardiak, she's the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer, was there. And I've been trying since our ERA campaign last year to get a contact with the ACES. And so we got to go and talk to her. And Danielle Fontenot, I think it's Fontenot. She's the executive director of the ACES Foundation, and is really interested in working in more, we're 501c4. So she's looking for like community things to do for nonprofits. So we're going to be working with helping her find some good things to do in our community. So, I think it's a really good way. It's fun activism, but it's also a good way to do community work. So we're excited about it. And anybody wants to join us, more the merrier. It's a good way for us all to get together. So
we might have pom-poms.
There might be pink pom-poms. Yeah,
there might be pom-poms.
For those who were at the meeting, at the program or the event the other night, Lindy said as she left that she liked seeing the pink from our shirts. So Sue's like, we're getting pink pom-poms with our Lady Rebel shirts. So, all right. So now we'll get down to the program, because one of the things we're going to do is kind of activate people to know what's going on in the community, ways to volunteer, and how to make change in our community. With most of us, that's what we do all the time. But there's people who are new to it or maybe need some new ideas of what's going on. So first, our board member, Sara Evans, is going to do a presentation on Activism Communications 101 with some pointers for getting your story across and public speaking tips. So, Sara?
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate everybody being here today. It's super fun to see some new faces. And I just really kind of briefly want to talk about activism and communication, because it's a little bit different than what it is like when you're communicating with your friends, or even if you're just giving a speech for the first time. So just real quickly, I wanted to kind of answer some of these three questions. How is communication different from advocacy work, or how is that communication style different? What is the strongest way to convey a message? And then what are some basic tips and tricks for public speaking? And again, I'm doing this in a very condensed version. And if you guys would like for a more intensive training, I'd be happy to put something together for you. And we can meet up all in person and do it. So first off, communicating to advocate. So one of the biggest things when you're working in this advocacy field is you have to know that you're communicating to a targeted audience. That's different from any kind of like regular communication style. Like, your targeted audience when you're presenting yourself through your advocacy work. So you also have a specialized message, and you're trying to influence policy or change existing practices. So that's why it's such a targeted audience, because you're looking at the people who have the ability to make this change happen. Another thing is a little bit unique about communication and advocacy work is you have to be able to state your views confidently. And that is really difficult when you're first learning to engage and you're first kind of tipping your toes into this advocacy work, because you're really wanting to help people understand how you think and how you came to your conclusions. And you really need to distinguish between intent and impact. And I know it sounds kind of funky, but really, a lot of times laws are put in place because they might have good intention, and then the impact has created something different, or vice versa. And so when you're doing your advocacy work, you really want to be able to distinguish, this is my intention, and this will be the impact of this intention. And the next thing that is really the most important thing that you can do in advocacy work is a strong message. And every strong message starts with the story of you. I cannot say this enough. You are so important and you are so valued. All of your life experiences have brought you here today, and it's so effective to hear your voice when it comes time to communicating for advocacy work, because when people see you, they can connect with you. I thought this was a kind of fun quote. One method sells coffee, the other puts people to sleep. And so that's why you don't want to get up and you don't want to just present data, like data this, data this. You have to have your personal story, because that creates that strong message. So telling your story, let's be honest, guys, telling your story requires a great deal of vulnerability. It really does. And another thing is, you're your expert of your own testimony. So you have to be confident in that. And this also really connects the dots. Now I'm going to do a really quick 30-second clip from one of my favorites, Brene Brown. And again, I really recommend this whole 20 minutes. I'm not going to spend the whole 20 minutes. It's just this 30-second clip, but it talks about the power of vulnerability.
Can you turn your volume up, please, Sarah?
Did that work? Nope.
It was playing, but we couldn't hear the audio.
You know what? We've got a lot on our program today, so I'll just kind of give you the little clip and I'll put this video in the chat and really recommend if you guys watch it. But basically it talks about there's a lot of shame and fear in people, and the only way that you can connect through that shame and fear is if you're willing and strong enough to be vulnerable. And that's what it really is, guys. It's the power of vulnerability within yourself and in your story. When you do that and you can connect with people. And lastly, just a couple like tips and tricks for public speaking. Public speaking, I wish I could give you a magic wand and make it so much easier in life, but that's just not how that works. So if you're somebody that kind of struggles with public speaking, I highly recommend the Toastmasters Club. You can Google Toastmasters here in Las Vegas. There's dozens and dozens of clubs, and they have specific clubs too. Like they have one that meets at bars. They have one that meets at gyms. Like you can find yourself in one of these clubs. And what the Toastmasters does is they practice that public speaking. Also, make sure that you're taking in the feedback. So while you do your practicing, like after this meeting, I will be asking Jerry and Sue, okay, guys, rate me. How did I do? I need your honest and feedback, because I take that honest feedback and then I can present better the next time. So again, like it all kind of relates back to just practice, practice, practice. But if you guys do want any additional training, or if there's anything that I can do to assist, thankfully I also have an amazing board member who is doing Communications 101 as for a living. And so we have connections for you. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. We are here for you on your advocacy journey.
Thank you, Sarah. And I think we should look into doing a longer program like you talked about. That would be wonderful. And, you know, oddly, someone had just, so my friend Zoe Nicholson has known me for 4 years, and the other day she asked me if I had had any equal pay situation, and I had. I was paid 25% less at the company I worked for, and she's like, that should be your lead story. You don't talk about that very often. I'm like, and for some reason I've like been protecting the company, and I worked for them for like 30 years, and so when you said that, it is a vulnerable thing. It also affects other people. Like sometimes your story involves what people have done to you and naming names, and so even not even, all of us need to work on that. And when you said that, I'm like, I was just told I need that. That's something I need to do. So thank you so much. I always learn from you. So thanks so much. So I wanted to check on, we were going to have, and we still may, Liliana go next, but Erica, are you okay with Liliana go? I just didn't know how your time frame, because I know you had things going on this evening. So thank you for joining us. So next I wanted to introduce Liliana. She's with Reproductive Freedom for All. And I wasn't even going to try her last name, Liliana. You're going to have to help me. But Reproductive Freedom for All was formerly NARAL, and we're going to have Liliana talk to us about that. We're excited. She's the new Nevada organizer. We'll be working together on the Nevada Reproductive Freedom ballot measure. And we wanted to have her talk about her new role, how we can help with, be involved with and tell people, because it's kind of news that this is going to be happening to some people, that what's happening with the abortion amendment, and you know what all this means and how we can work together. So Liliana, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so amazing to be among such great company. So my name is Liliana Trejo Vanegas. I know it's a little tough. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am the Nevada organizer for what is formerly known as NARAL Pro-Choice America. We are now Reproductive Freedom for All. I know, another mouthful. It's going to be rough to to get things quickly in there. And so for over 50 years, our organization and members have unapologetically helped lead the charge on both the state and national levels to protect and advance freedom protections through grassroots organizing, electoral change, and political advocacy. And as we embark on our new chapter with our new name, our new brand makes it clear who we are and what our mission is. And it remains the same as it always was, which is reproductive freedom is for all. Something really exciting that we have going on for the rest of this year and for this election that's coming up on September 14th, together with Planned Parenthood and the ACLU of Nevada, we filed a petition with the Secretary of State's office to secure a ballot question to enshrine abortion protections in Nevada State's Constitution. And this was also with the help of the amazing Erica Mosca, who, they were able to pass that in the legislature. So amazing to be part of a state where this can happen. So we are going to need to collect 103,000 signatures in support by June 26th to get this proposal on the November 2024 ballot. And we're fired up to have Nevadans' voices heard. So we will not know until October 6th if the opposition will file something against it, which we are, kind of expecting that. So we probably will not be able to begin collecting signatures until January, but we will have other amazing events coming up. So if anybody would like to get in touch, I'll drop my my email there in the chat if for anyone who wants to reach out and become a part of of this amazing work for reproductive freedom for all.
Thanks. We look forward to working with you. We're on the committee for the ballot question and we're ready to start, getting signatures together. We've talked about having events together to let people know how to volunteer and how to get involved once we get it on the ballot. Then it's going to take 2 years, 2 different times on the ballot to pass. So I think it's important, and we know with the election coming up that having an abortion amendment, first of all, it protects us. As we, Donna has been doing this a long time. We know that, we've passed laws that have protected us, but if we could get a new legislature in and God forbid, and want to overturn it. And as with our state ERA, we being in the Constitution just really protects us and makes it a lot harder for that to happen. So we're big advocates of getting that done. So we're all in to help in any way we can, Liliana, and we'll be working with you and Planned Parenthood to get this done. So NACLU and all the other organizations that are involved. So thanks so much. And so as I put in there that also Assemblywoman Venetia Constantine is here. She was involved with that as well. But we're really excited to have Erica Mosca on, the Assemblywoman. We watched her through the legislative session, bringing up her constituents to testify for bills and learn how the process works. And it was really impressive, the busloads of people going up. I know Donna went up a few times with her. So, and also, after the legislature, you've been doing community events and getting volunteers, and it's really impressive. And so we wanted to kind of get some pointers from you and learn what you're doing, and you're doing things right, Erica. It's wonderful to have you today.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. And I'm really excited to be here among friends. So thank you for having me. I see so many familiar faces, people volunteered, and of course, Assemblywoman Considine, who I always just try to follow in her great footsteps. So thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I was actually really excited to come on and just share a little bit about kind of how I do what I do. So I'm going to share this. And then again, Donna comes to everything. So you can even ask her how the comms works for her. But I'm really excited to kind of share a little bit about why I kind of know how to do this stuff, because I take it from my nonprofit brain. Some examples that I wanted to share with you tonight to really put it out there that if you need any help with any of this stuff, with Canva, with my organizing kind of spreadsheet I'm going to share, I especially want to help this group of all groups. So really, I'm here for you. I'm going to talk like less than 10 minutes and then have time for questions. This is only up here as a meta example. So the donate and the volunteer newsletter, whenever I have anything, this is there. So it's kind of like I'm a big branding person. So, you know, I got my logo. These are the colors I use. Hopefully, if you've seen a lot of my stuff, you always see the same colors. And really, that's just part of the, okay, if I see these colors, I start to associate and you start to get this communications message. So I think a lot about those things. I also think a lot about Gen Z. I'm sure we have some Gen Z on. I'm a millennial, not Gen Z, but they love QR codes. The best QR code I use is just, I just go PDF QR code. It's free. It can also be colors. So a lot of my QR codes are green, you'll notice, but that's the one that you don't have to sign up with lots of ads. But, you know, if you need help with that, I can help too. So this is my personal email. I'm much faster over email than text, which is really weird, but I'm good over email. Please feel free to email me. My background is I'm a nonprofit founder. I'm not at my nonprofit anymore. I left like a year and a half ago to really have time to do all of this. And so my background really is in organizing people. I started my nonprofit when I was 26 with my own savings of less than $2,000. And I left it after 10 years with a $500,000 budget and a staff of 6. And I would really say, thank you, the things that I'm sharing tonight actually are what helped me get there. And so I think so much about volunteering. There are really 3 things that I always kind of keep in mind. Any type of volunteer event that you're organizing. 1, what is your mindset or what is your purpose? So I know maybe you've seen that I have a youth committee. Those are a group of some awesome, diverse young people who come to a lot of my events and volunteer. And I'll share how I organize them as I go through. My mindset for those young people, it's not, oh, I need canvassers. Oh, young people have to do their dues, so they have to volunteer. That's not what I think. My mindset is I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to do this work forever. People like me, I never really saw them. You know, I grew up low income, moved around a lot. I didn't see people like my background in positions of power. So when I think about volunteering, I think about how can I empower somebody to be even more successful than me someday. And I think about how much these young people at like 19 and 20, I didn't even know what a legislator was, you know, at 19 or 20. So now these young people not only know what a legislator is, they go up to Carson, they can say they have bills, so they're going to be our governors. So I really think about volunteering as a pipeline, and whether it's a young person, whether it's any person, you want to help that person connect their why with purpose and for the community. So that's just the mindset I have, like, okay, that's why I have different types of volunteering, because not everyone wants to do unhoused outreach. Other people want to do things with food or cleanup. So that's kind of just my mindset. So number 1, what is your purpose? It shouldn't be about you. It shouldn't be about your ward. It should actually be about the impact for our state and our community. Second, you have to be organized. So, you know, I send a lot of email, which is communication, but I'm very organized. So I know what we're doing. I have a vision. I put it on a calendar, like a 4-month calendar. So someone doesn't feel like, hey, she's asking me to volunteer all the time. Actually, people know all the dates that are available. And if they come one time, they feel like they've participated. Sometimes a lot of events, especially in the political scene, feel like they're happening to you. Like, oh, this event is on Friday. This event is on Sunday. We all know we get burnt out from that. So I think the more we can be organized, it's okay that there's some one-offs. But when everyone feels like, I know when that event is, they just feel this sense of calm and like, okay, I'll do one for her, one for this group, one for that group, and you won't burn people out. And then finally, communication is key. Lots of it, external and internal. So like when you sign up for me, I'll like email you every week until the event happens. I'll email you after the event. I'll add you on the newsletter. I'll text you. And I don't feel like I'm annoying you. I feel like, well, you signed up, so I'm actually doing the service I'm supposed to do and connecting you because I want you to find your purpose to help the community. So those are like the 3 things that I think if we just keep in mind, that's always what I have in mind when I'm doing my events. So just a couple examples. So first, this is my example of my fall 2023 vision, and this is an external document. So maybe you've seen this one, but what I did is go on Canva. Canva's free. I know we hopefully are all using Canva nowadays, but I came up with like, okay, if I made all these people volunteer with me and I made them donate to me, I feel like they want to feel like we did something. And so I think as legislators, we're not always so good saying like, these are the 4 things we accomplished or 5 things. And I'm going to toot my horn and not feel bad about it, you know, because in the nonprofit world, if you don't list all your accomplishments, they're not going to give you money the next year. So if you're having a volunteer event, you should be able also to list what are the things you accomplished before. What is this volunteer event going to accomplish for the community to connect people to purpose? And then we always have a vision, like for just the fall 2023, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted people to think that politicians can be good and that they can help throughout the year. That's all, because I think that that's going to help in the long run and help our country know that politicians aren't all bad. Well, what are our goals? We're going to let the youth committee come up with their events. We're going to work on the unhoused issue because that's the biggest issue we hear in East Las Vegas. And I'm going to try to raise some money from regular people because we all know we raise money from lobbyists, but I like to, you know, say that I have regular people that support because that's what keeps it grounded, to be honest. And here's where I'm putting where my money, where my mouth is. This is very stressful. And I know that you that have organizations or this group, you know that. If I'm going to put this on paper, put it on social media, put it in a newsletter, this means I have to do all these dates. Now, Donna has been at all of these ongoing unhoused supports at 6 to 8 a.m. She could tell you we're out there. This means I'm committing. I'm actually going to do this because if you put you're going to do all these events and don't do them, people don't trust you anymore. And so all the young people, the youth committee, they picked all the events. I would not be doing all these, but they're the ones that said they want to do this. I'm helping them learn how to project plan and collaborate. And these are all the dates we're doing. I had all my fundraisers. We've had 2 fundraisers already. And so the next one is the holiday party. This helps people when we keep asking them to donate for money all the time. Sometimes it gets very tiring because they're like, well, are you going to have another event, you know, next month? So at least I let people know, come to one of these, you know, if you can. But I think this is that organization and that communicating. And I put this out there and it's on social media. So everybody kind of knows, what am I doing this fall? And then an example too is like, if this is my external, I have things like my MailChimp. I had to make a MailChimp for my nonprofit. That's why I know how to do it. I'm very open to teaching you how to do MailChimp. Just email me. I could do a 20-minute Zoom. It can be free. If you have a certain amount of emails, it's not free. But basically, I take this document, I post it on social, but you can't just do that. You have to text it to everyone that's on your list, and then you need to be every month reminding people. So this is actually a newsletter that goes out to like over 1,000 people that have engaged with my campaign at some point, and they know like, what am I doing? Because people want to know. So this was August, and then this is an example of September. So this back to school fundraiser that you see on Saturday, August 26th, I then told the community what happened. What was the result? So if you have all these events, you have to communicate the what happened, because guess what? Then the event I had in September, more people came because they saw the impact. So it's that organization and that's that communication over and over again. So this is just another example of the newsletter. These now take me 30 minutes to make. So the first one takes a long time. Once you have a template, I can help you. And then, of course, you have to, and they told me I can share this. I'm not just sharing this without permission, but then you have to have internal organization. So all these events that you see here are backwards mapped to an organized sheet that everyone shares. Everyone agreed that they have to do once a month event, and they organize themselves. So we go here, we see who's doing what, who's done what, if they have not attended, if they have attended, all the events that are coming up. And so now we have a whole sheet that at the end of the year, if someone asks me, what have I been doing as an assemblywoman? Boom, I have a list. Who's been there? Boom, here's the diversity. Here's everything. And it's easily shareable. So I don't want to talk at you too long. So I'm going to take like 5 more minutes. So that's how I organize right now, the fall. And then I'm going to not quickly, but now I'm going to go over what I did in the session just so you can see it. But before I go that, I just want to show you this. So in the campaign, this was also my Canva. So yes, I showed you what I'm doing in the fall, but when I actually ran, I did the same thing so that people didn't feel like, well, when is Mosca's canvas going to be? Like, maybe I just want a phone bank. So because I put all the dates out, everybody knew and everybody felt comfortable. There's that green QR code, and I just followed up with people. So I did it in the campaign, doing it in the off season. And then finally, what's so important to me is, especially with the youth committee as an example, for young people, if we're going to use them to canvas, if we're not going to, I couldn't pay all of them to do this work. I do see it as a pipeline. I think it's so important that they can see the actual work in the session. To me, what's the purpose if they've been doing all this work and they never got to go up? And why that's so important to me is because the first time I went to the assembly was in 2017 when former Assemblywoman Irene Bustamante Adams was my mentor through Emerge. She invited me, and that was the first time I said, wow, I could do that. So I just think it's so, so important. And why I knew to do these trips is because once I did that, I would bring my students from my nonprofit up. So this is separate before I wasn't elected. So I had done these trips before. And now that I was elected, I wanted to put it on fire, and we brought someone up or groups up every single week, which I'm most proud of and spent almost all my campaign money on. But to me, that was the right thing to do. So here's an example. These Spirit flights are very cheap also. So we wouldn't pay for adults. So if adults ever came up, we wouldn't pay, but for young people, we would pay. So they would always, so this is an example of a 2-day trip. So, I have, what are you doing by the hour? And I can share this template with you. I had students at UNR who would pick students up. I would pick a restaurant they could go to that I would cover. I'd give them my card. They would go to the restaurant. And then I always wanted it to be productive. So they went to UNR so they could go see UNR. WNC, Western Nevada College, is also up in Carson City, Reno area, so or TMCC. So that could be something if you need to tie it to an educational thing. Then they could walk around the Riverwalk. Then they drove to Carson. They checked into their hotel. And then we even gave them pre-work. They had to do their homework. And we went over their homework when we met for dinner so that they could feel comfortable to come to the session the next day. So I think it's really important to allow people to feel comfortable. And they knew what to expect. So Nixie's my attaché. They would have breakfast at the Black Bear Diner. She would meet them in the morning. She would walk them to the building. They had an hour to attend whatever committee meeting they wanted. Then they did a tour. So this is important. I knew this from my own experience. You all can go on a tour of the legislative building, of the executive branch, of the Supreme Court, and that gives people something to do. So I think that's really important. Yes, we want people to meet with their electeds, but that's very boring to people. They've never been there before. You got to let them walk around and talk to people and take pictures. So then they would go on the floor. I would introduce them. They loved that. They got to experience it. Then they want to go eat. They don't want to be with me, so they would go eat. We'd allow them to talk to electeds or go to the committee meeting. I would say goodbye to them to see what they learned, and then they would go home. And so we would repeat this for whoever wanted to come for 2 days. But what's really important, it could also be a 1 day. So I can share this with the NOW team. I'll scrub the names and then I'll share it. But here's an example where my mentors came for just 1 day. They came in the morning. They wanted to rent their own car. We told them where to park. I mean, this is very important info. Nixie got them. They did the tour. They met with people. They came and sat with me on the assembly floor. They wanted to meet with all these people. So here's an example of all these meetings. And then they left, right? They kind of stopped by the committees. They walked, and then they took the plane at night. So it's very doable to organize a day for people. And I'm very open to helping you. And I know Assemblywoman Considine is as well. And the last one I'll just share here is everyone loves that I did these bus trips, but this is what I used, ignore that. This is what I used to do with students. So it was a lot of logistics, but I have this all I can share with you. The bus picked people up. We had where the bus would stop. At night, we went to the plaza where we talked about how to advocate, what to expect. There were like 60 people there. They got to know each other. They all slept. And in the morning, they basically did the same schedule that the other groups you've seen did. I kind of just repeat this schedule, but they came for 3 days. So the third day was kind of fun. People got a choice to do things they'd never done before, like the State Museum, the Railroad Museum. I think a car did go to Genoa, maybe Virginia City. But these are things that like our people don't get to do often. And so I think we forget it's kind of cool. And so I think just reminding people that they can come up and do regular things too outside the session is really exciting. So I think I definitely talked for more than 10 minutes, sorry, but would love to answer any questions and hopefully that was helpful.
It was very helpful, and now I'm wishing we could clone you because it's amazing what you've done. I mean, we know from when we've gone up to the legislature, I think, Sue, this was your first year going up, our last session. I mean, at our age, we hadn't been up much. I think I went up a couple of years before that, and so it's intimidating, and to have take students and have this schedule and help them learn it. I'm just really impressed. We're definitely going to be working with you next session.
I'm going on the Erica tour. I'm going on the Erica tour. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of the social media around it, and Donna being at several of the events, and it looked like fun, but it's so, that's impressive and so important for people to learn. If anybody has any questions for Erica, we definitely have time. So.
And let me just say, I was the bus chaperone, and it was a lot of fun. I had 7 high school Dems, and these are kids that have come up through Erica's nonprofit, and they're heading off to college or wherever they're going, and some of them are going to Ivy League schools. They're amazing. And some of them had never been up there, but at the end of the first day, they're like, can we testify on this bill? I'm like, yeah. What do I need to do? What do you want to say? Let's talk about that. And they wrote testimony, and on that morning of the third day, they went and testified. So they go from not knowing what a legislator is, what happens at the legislature, to participating in the process. And for me, it was so rewarding. I can't wait to do it again, because it was tiring, but it was a kick in the pants, because the morning I walked them over to the legislature, I walked up on them and they're like, we've got to make Joe Lombardo a 1-term governor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who are we going to run? I heard Aaron Ford's running. We can get behind him. And I walked up and I went, you're having the same conversation I'm having with people my age.
Right.
And they knew, and they were tuned in. And so what Eric is doing is nothing short of amazing, in opening their eyes and bringing them in and making them feel a part of it and getting them excited. So it was great to be a part of it. I encourage anybody to come along.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. And then coming out every 2 weeks. And I saw a question too in here. So that's actually a really good point. Thank you. My educational background. So I used to be a teacher. So that's really what also makes it, so second nature. So I was a teacher. I went to BU undergrad as a first gen. I went to UNLV for my curriculum and instruction. And then I left and I did the ed school at Harvard in ed policy, because I thought I'd want to do policy, but I really just miss young people. So I did that work for 10 years before I popped back up into the policy world.
One of the things that Sara and I had talked about is maybe having a bigger program about this, type of issue. So, how to train volunteers, how to get people involved. And so that might be something you could help us out with too. And I know Venetia has people in her community go to regular meetings with her. And, I think that's something that people can see how they can easily meet their legislator. That's one of the wonderful things about Nevada is certainly in Ginny's out in Pahrump. They've got a great organization out there and comes into our events, and we need to come to one of yours, Ginny. We keep promising, but we have such a great group of activism and activists that work together. We get to know our legislators, we get to know our Congress people. It's really important, and it's fun to be an activist when you can get to know people that easily. And Erica, it's just impressive. So Sue, weren't you going to say something?
I don't know. I think Erica's already picked up a new member of her youth committee with Alina on here. So yay. No, I mean, ever since we first met Erica, her enthusiasm for one thing it's infectious. I will say that because I'm like ready to go to Carson City right now. But yeah, that's amazing organization. Yeah, I think you can do a couple of classes on that one, Erica. Maybe I'll just take a private session with you.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I'm really open, if there's anything that people, especially, MailChimp can be intimidating.
I need to talk to you about MailChimp. We'll have a private conversation about MailChimp.
We'll have a separate meeting. We do use MailChimp, but I'm sure there are many things we could learn how to do better. And I loved how you took your graphics and used it onto MailChimp. That's a good idea because usually it's me making the emails, and so I know what it's like to use the template and try to do it. So anyway,
yeah, I mean we got to witness Erica bringing some of her students up, and we're absolutely fascinated by it. And I think we were on the assembly floor when her first bill passed out of the assembly and moved on to the Senate. And I was like right behind her, and I was like, yay. To get the kids involved, it means everything because it's something Jerry and I say, we're not going to be doing this forever.
Right.
We need that pipeline. So that's why I'm so excited to see like Alina and Sean on here. That's fabulous. And any questions we can answer for you or help you out with. But that's what's really unique about Nevada is that you can pick up the phone or and send a text message or make a phone call or send an email and say, hey, can you do this? And they're right there for you. And that's pretty much what happened in getting Erica on here. Today it's like, I'll do anything. So please feel free to ask her any questions.
And we thank you for that. And I was thinking, we really liked you and endorsed you, and then we fell in love with you when we saw the work you were doing. So that's impressive. So thank you so much. I was just gonna, and if there's any questions, we can jump in and have Erica answer. A couple things that are coming up that we've been working on that might interest somebody to get involved in. There's a group of people, Moms for Liberty is trying to get into Nevada.
Yep.
A few of us that are getting together to get people to go to school board meetings and kind of keep an eye on what they're doing to fight against it. I know Ginny's been working on people trying to ban books or move books, I suppose, at the library in Pahrump. It's something that we've got to stay on top of. And so there's a group that are getting together. No Racism in Schools is one of the people. Who else is doing that, Sue? It's there's like 3 groups that are putting it together, but we've joined as well. I'll think of it in a minute. So anyway, if that's something that interests you, we need people to go to school board meetings, kind of keep an eye on social media and what they're doing. We've also attended some of the rallies to support teacher pay. We've had a couple of them we've gone to. Sue and I went to the first one that Jara did, and then he didn't do anymore because he didn't like the reaction outside of his coffee with Jara thing. It was like, that was the only one he did. But then some parents did an event last week that we went and, we're trying to support. So it's another thing to get involved with. Culinary Union's taking a vote tomorrow on whether to strike. It's looking pretty likely that will happen. They don't have, a contract now with pretty much most of the hotels on the Strip to just let it go. So I think last time this happened, they had like a 7-year strike, and they certainly don't want that to happen, but it shows that they will stay and, protect their workers and get the pay they deserve. So that's tomorrow, and we'll be supporting whatever happens there with Bethany and Culinary. Sue and I are going to Planned Parenthood's party on purpose this Wednesday night. We'll also be walking with Planned Parenthood in the Pride Parade this year. Last year we don't know what we had the truck last year.
Last year we did our own entry into the how soon we can do it.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember we were with somebody. Nope, that was us.
No, it was a truck.
We did, yeah, we had the state ERA wrap truck last year for passing the ballot question last year. So this year we're going to be working on the abortion amendment. So we're working with Planned Parenthood, and if that's something you want to do, I think they have, I think to buy tickets to Party on Purpose, today's the last day. And I don't know when to sign up for the parade is, but it's like the parade's October 6th. And
Yeah, I think you can still sign up. And we call it it's the ballot initiative. We're calling it, the abortion thing, but it's actually reproductive health.
Right.
It covers not only abortion, but contraception, IVF, postpartum depression, vasectomies. It's just basically you have the right to make those reproductive decisions for yourself is pretty much what the initiative is about. I was going to say something.
Reproductive freedom ballot measure is what.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say something about CCSD, and I know Erica and Venetia will back me up on this. The money that the teachers are asking for, it was dollars that was passed in the legislature for the exact percentages that the teachers are asking for. So, I mean, the money has been allocated. It is there as a parent of a CCSD teacher. Any help that can be given to try to push those negotiations. The arbitration never goes the way it should for the teachers. And like I said, the money was allocated exactly to those percentages that the teachers are asking for. So that's my inside scoop on that.
We're also sponsoring legal aid for housing equality through the National Action Network, and that's Wednesday night. So
yes, thank you, Eva.
That was my next thing on the list, Eva. Thanks. I was going to say we're both Sue and I are on the board of National Action Network, and so I'm unable to go, and Eva's going to be going to their legal night tomorrow night at Nevada Partners at 5:30. So, and then they also have their next meeting. They do first it's October 2nd. So what date is it? Mondays? First Monday?
It's always first Monday
of the month.
Unless it's a holiday.
Right. And they've also got a Western Regional Conference coming up on October 12th through the 14th. They're going to do I think Robert Bush is working on a women's sports panel that we're trying to get some people to come and speak at. So put that on your calendars. So what else was I going to tell you? Basically that we're involved with a lot of organizations. We can have help to we try to all take turns and spread out to different events, and Sue and I and Sara and Eva and, we get Trisha involved, and we try to all be somewhere. And so the more people that are involved, that, shows our support. And then, we learn how we can support and we get more members out there. So that's one way you can help us. I'm going to put a link on, I think I may have put it in there, but how to volunteer. We're always looking for people to write postcards. Some people don't want to be out, walking doors. So we have texting and phone calling, especially with this amendment coming up. That's what we did. Anybody who knows what we did for the state ERA. We weren't the only one on the committee, but we did a lot of the activism around it, and we want to help this time with this. And like Sue said, maybe then we can, Sue and I can retire. We got 2 amendments done, and now we're passing it to Sara and Laura. And so the
legal night for housing equality is Wednesday.
Oh, is it Wednesday night? Yeah, Wednesday is
5:30.
Right. Okay.
That's Dan.
Yeah. Thank you. That's right. Tomorrow night's the Aces other game. So I was thinking that. Sorry. Sports on the brain, which is so weird for me. But so I'll put on how to volunteer with us, and we're always looking for people to work directly with endorsed candidates, which we'll be working on. Sue works on our PAC. We'll be working on that soon to start looking at candidates. We did a lot of postcard writing for the ERA and for candidates. Candidates love when we do, we can help out in that way. And it gets people involved. And we did a couple different house parties with that at Sarah's house and others. So if you want to help protect, reproductive rights in Nevada, obviously we'll be working on that. Sue just wrote an op-ed, and so if you're interested in helping with op-eds for the paper, what day is it supposed to come out, Sue?
I've got a letter to the editor that will be in the Review Journal on Thursday.
Yay!
It's about women's sports and trying to get the community support for the Aces. I mean, you see it for the Knights and the Raiders, but don't see anything when it comes to the Aces anywhere.
Yeah. So.
And I was just going to say, I was just looking at a kind of an updated list. I'm trying to remember how many. Erica Venetia, fill me in here. Remind me, how many Assembly people are there? 40?
I know our caucus is like 20 something, so there might be like 40.
42. I'm sorry.
42
total.
Look at that.
42, and it's what, 21 senators?
Yep, gang of 63.
42 and 21. Okay, I just looked at the list of Assembly and Senate, and right now there's 11 people that are not running next year. So when you're talking about those numbers of 42 and 21, 11 is a lot.
Yeah.
11 is a lot. And
more than expected, right? I mean, I know we've had
what was that?
More than expected, and we've had changes we didn't expect. So
we've had some changes we didn't expect. We had a supermajority in the Assembly, which was great and fabulous and wonderful. We were short a seat in the Senate for a supermajority. We were hoping that our big fight was to just get that extra Senate seat for 2024. But there's going to be several vacancies in Assembly, so our supermajority in the Assembly is at risk, as well as keeping a majority in the Senate. If not getting a supermajority in the Senate is at risk. The reason that's important is Governor Lombardo vetoed 75 bills this last session, his very first session. It doesn't sound like a whole lot because of
it's a lot.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like a lot because of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bills that were out there. But just a comparison, Governor Sandoval in two terms, did only a little more than 90, I think like 93, something in there, in what would have eventually been like 4 legislative sessions. Governor Lombardo did 75 in 1. Most of those vetoes were regarding housing that Erica is working on, and some common sense gun control.
Gun control.
Yeah, some common sense gun control. So we got nothing on rent control. We got nothing on common sense gun control. So it's important that we try to get candidates in there that believe in those issues so we can have the supermajority, so we have the ability to veto. And, I know this is only September 25th, but as Labor Day has, yes, they are, Erica and Venetia are both champions. But as the saying goes, and I work in retail, once Labor Day hits, the rest of the year goes by real fast, and January will be here before we know it, and we'll be hitting the ground running. So, he vetoed lunch for school kids too, and I think pre-K, and I don't even want to get into all of them. Yeah, so that's why we start talking about it now. It's why we had our fundraiser now. And any help and assistance we'll put you to work doing something. So
yeah, and like you're saying, one of the big things is we take the time to interview candidates, and we have our questionnaire, which we've been told is pretty tough, and there's no wiggle room on our 6 core issues. And so it's a lot of work we did last time. We did judicial and really broadened in Sue, because you and I worked and Sarah and everybody, but we will be doing that again this year. And I think we can't be complacent. Like Sue said, we've got some new people we're going to have to look at, and we want to keep a female majority, and we want to get a majority in both houses. So.
Okay, and so now I know Jerry's going to do the pop quiz on me, because just so you all know what the 6 core issues are that we believe in, and even though we're a nonpartisan volunteer group, the core issues are constitutional equality, reproductive rights and justice, economic rights, racial justice, LGBTQ, IA plus rights, ending violence against women. Did I get them all?
You did good. I used
so.
that look.
Okay. I was trying to count on my fingers.
Yeah, so I mean, thank you, Erica. Thanks that she had to hop off. But you know, if these are issues that you're interested in, if we've got committees that work on each of these, and we need to build those up as well because it's a lot to work on. And then if you're interested in helping with candidates and talking to people, we can always get people that work with us and we trust to help us with the interview system. So there's a lot coming up in the next year and a half, as you know. So. That's what I had. Yep.
I got nothing.
Well, and I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Most are, people that we worked with or new people that we want to work with, and we appreciate you taking time. And we'll be sharing the program. So if other people want to get involved, they'll be able to sign up and help out. And Lanny?
Are you going to do community announcements? I have 3 announcements.
Go for it.
You bet.
Okay. All right. First announcement, I'm Lonnie Paz with the Red Rock Dems, if you didn't know. And Tuesday, tomorrow night, is trivia night, Battle of the Nerds. And that is down in Tivoli Village, I believe at the tavern there. Hunter Kane has got a lot of people coming up. They're going to do rapid fire trivia. They're going to do team trivia, a lot of stuff, a lot of excitement. So please join us tomorrow night, Battle of the Nerds trivia night. Wednesday is our general Red Rock Dems meeting. I am leading a panel discussion on the Supreme Court and ethics. We've got Sandra Cosgrove, David Orkenblicker, I probably slaughtered his name again, and Bruce, he's the Nevada Dem lawyer, and his name is escaping my mind at this moment. But it will be a panel discussion on the basics, balance of power, how our government's supposed to work. Okay, so now we've got the Supreme Court problems. It should be a lively discussion. Temple Sinai, 6:30. You can register, join on Zoom. It's always better in person, though, I have to say. It's always more fun. And the third announcement is our big red, white, and blue fundraiser coming up in October. Jackie Rosen is going to be our keynote speaker. Susie Lee, Aaron Ford, I mean, everybody who can make it is coming down. So that will again be at Temple Sinai, October 8th, 6 o'clock. Tickets are, please buy tickets. It's a fundraiser, guys. We need money too. $70. If you're a member, $100. If you're not a member, and if you're not a member, you might as well become a member, because even buying membership and then the ticket, you'll be saving money from $100. And on a personal note, if you get any weird messages from me on Facebook, it's not me. My account was hacked. I'm fighting to get it back. And people are telling me, hey, you're sending me messages, weird posts. It's not me, babe. It's not me. So delete and report it if you get anything from Haoli Paz, my Facebook name. Thank you.
Thanks, Lanny. Anybody else have any announcements? And Lanny, if you want to send me a couple of those links, I've got most of them from Deidre, but just that we could share those. So
I will. I'll put them in the chat.
Yeah, thank you. All right. And I think
Yeah, they should be listed on the website.
yeah, and I've been sharing some of it, so yeah. And we'll make sure to share the events. And then yeah, Red Rock has it's listed on their social media, I know. So all right. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you all.